Hello everybody, my name is Eric. Welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome. On this channel I talk about electric cars, I talk about China, I talk about whatever's on my mind, and today what's on my mind is the biggest electric car charging station that I have ever seen. So if that sounds interesting to you, let's give it a go. Today's pretty much like a miserable, really rainy, wet day here in Shenzhen, so I just been kind of bored sitting around doing nothing, and I got some text messages from my cousin in California. She just took delivery of her Tesla Model S 2022 with a yoke steering wheel, all that cool stuff. She is super stoked about it. I'm super stoked for her. I can't wait to go home this summer to California and drive her car around and see what that's all about, because I've never driven a Model S before and I've never used a yoke before, so that's going to be really cool. But this is her first electric car, and she knows that I'm into EVs quite a bit, so she's asked me some questions in general about what's an EV like, the experience, everything like that. But she also asked me about the infrastructure. What's charging like? And from what I can tell, just in general, like on the internet, comments I see, is that probably the biggest maybe trepidation that people feel when they're trying to buy an EV, or when they do buy an EV, is how do I charge? When do I charge? Where do I charge? How do I pay? What happens if I run out of energy? All this stuff. Probably the biggest learning curve that people will feel when they purchase an EV is with charging. And when it comes to public infrastructure, public charging, well, in America, probably most people charge at home, as opposed to here in China, where most people don't have the ability to charge at home. But when people in either place, and probably everywhere around the world, when they think about public charging, they wonder, where is it? How do I find it? What apps do I need? How much is it going to cost? How am I going to pay? Is it going to be functional when I get there? All these sorts of things. And to be honest, this can be a little bit intimidating. If you are considering an EV, it's not something you need to be afraid of, but it is something you need to consider and think about. And I don't browse Reddit that much, but somehow I still browse Reddit far too much. But when I look at like r/electric vehicles, I see a lot of people that are worried about charging, public infrastructure, and can I get from A to B. I also see people complaining quite often, especially in America, again, about lack of a real national network, vandalism, general disrepair or dirtiness of charging stations, or other kind of issues that might happen at charging stations that don't necessarily happen with an internal combustion engine car. I just gave you that little brief introduction mainly because if you've seen my channel at all, you already know that there's plenty of infrastructure in China, and you've seen me go to charge my battery or swap my battery or that sort of thing all across China. I've driven all around China in a great big circle. I've driven across China, east to west. I've been around China in my EV. But what I haven't really done is really shown you some of the massive charging stations that are here in China. For me, they're kind of normal, and I realize that it might not be normal in other places. So that's what I'm going to do today, is I'm going to show you probably the biggest charging station I've ever seen in China or anywhere. If we really want to speed up the transition to electric cars, we really need to have charging stations that are not just like 4 charging points available. Maybe 2 of them don't even work, they're out of service, or the cable's been cut because scavengers are trying to get copper or whatever's going on in America these days. Charging stations need to be ubiquitous, and chargers at those stations need to be plentiful. So this charging station I'm showing you right now is in Liuzhou in Guangxi province in southern China. This is probably a city that you've never heard of, but it's got 4 million people in it. So it's also probably bigger than wherever you're from. It's a really great, beautiful, fun city. I've been there a few times. It's right on the river, and it's famous. It's well known for its city view at night, and also its river snail soup that smells really bad but tastes really good. And in this video, I really don't want to misrepresent the EV situation in China, say that every little city in China has stations like this, because they don't. Even though there is plenty of infrastructure, again, I've never seen a station this big anywhere in China. And probably the reason for such a big charging station here in Liuzhou is because Liuzhou is a automobile manufacturing city. Here in Liuzhou, they build both Wuling and Baojun. And if you don't know, Wuling Mini is the best-selling electric car in China, and maybe even the world. I gotta double check that stat. Feel free to pause this video at any time and count if you want to double check my work. But from what I can tell, there's 4 rows of 20 DC fast chargers. Then you got 1 row of 15 fast chargers, and then 1 row of 10 fast chargers. That makes for a total of 120 DC fast chargers right here at this one charging station. Not only that, but you also have a Neo battery swap station, and you also have a Dongfeng battery swap station. However, the Dongfeng swap station was not live and working when I was there. And then in addition to all those fast chargers, on the front of this building, in the parking lot, you also have a whole row that I didn't count of level 2 chargers. And then if that's not mind-blowing enough for how many chargers are available here, you also have on-street parking pretty much everywhere in Liuzhou, but along this whole street for sure. You have on-street parking also with level 2 chargers. So anywhere you go, wherever you stop, you can top up your car and always have a full battery. The charging station that I'm showing you right now is operated and owned by Southern China Power Grid. This is a state-owned enterprise, so this is a government infrastructure project essentially. Between this and like the green EV plates that are free, as well as subsidies for buying an EV, you can really see how seriously that China is taking the transition to electric vehicles and how they are encouraging adoption of EVs. Another thing to note is that there really are no third-party apps that you need to download, find charging stations, or to pay for your charge when you do charge your car. Basically in China, everything runs on WeChat or Alipay. These are 2 apps that everybody in China has. They're linked to your bank account and your real identity. They have many programs within the app. So like if I go to a third-party charger, I might scan their QR code to pay, and it will either take me directly to a payment page, or in the case of charging a car, it'll probably most likely take you to a mini program so you can monitor the status of your charge. But let's just say it's all very simple. It's a system that everybody in China has. Everybody has a mobile phone and can scan a QR code to make a mobile payment. You do that for everything in China. And again, I've seen people in other countries on Reddit or on YouTube that say like I have to get like an RFID card, or I have to download multiple apps either to plan my route or to pay. In China, they really eliminate any barrier to entry for buying and using an electric vehicle, which again, if we really want to ease the transition to electric vehicles, that's really what we got to do. The closest that I've ever seen anything like this in California was me and my mom drove and we stopped at the Tesla Supercharger on the way down to Southern California. So Tesla owners in California probably already know this, but there is kind of almost a rough equivalent to what we have here in China. But that's only for Teslas, at least for now, whereas these chargers, Teslas can use them and any other EV can use them. Everybody's equal in China. Yeah. Last thing that I want to know is that over the past year, infrastructure in China for EVs has just like boomed. It's blossomed. It's fully developed. When I first got my car, which is a little over a year ago, and I drove all around China, there were quite a few places that I did feel range anxiety. I didn't think I could make it from one place to the next. I even had to have the mobile charging van come and charge me up a couple times. Over the course of just 1 year, so much has changed in China. China really moves at just lightning speed, or as they say, China speed. So on my most recent road trip, which I drove across China from east to west, southern China, probably 90% of rest stops on the highway had fast chargers now, as opposed to a year ago, maybe 50% of highway rest stops had fast chargers. Also, every shopping center, most hotels, anywhere you park your car almost, if it's inside or it's a private parking lot, is going to have something to charge your car, except for like restaurants or things like that. But anywhere where you're going to park your car for any length of time has chargers. Any highway rest stop has chargers. So they're ubiquitous, widespread, plentiful, and maybe most importantly of all, they always work. They always work. I've only encountered maybe 1 or 2 chargers that didn't work in over a year of owning an electric car in China. And I see every day that I check Reddit, people are saying, I've been to a charger and it didn't work, or I only had 1 that was working. So if we really, really want to increase the adoption of EVs, I hope that America and other places can follow China's example in making them plentiful, widespread, easy to use, easy to pay, always working, no downtime, because I know there's a kind of a shortage of cars right now. So that also is holding back the adoption of EVs. But if we really do want to make EV adoption as quickly as possible, we really need to take away any barrier to entry and put, if not stations this big, like in China, at least some kind of necessary equivalent so that people aren't afraid, there's no trepidation, and people are willing to step into an electric car. Because, to be honest, they're way more fun than internal combustion engine cars. So I guess that's that. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this look at a massive EV charging station in China.